Nico.
Yeah.
You can see Mole and Y4, I think, are probably going to be down in the bottom lane with CLX in the mid lane on the Orianna.
Is it going to be on-hit Nico for for not Y4, but for Mole? That's my question. Because in the past, we have seen AD Nico, but previous nerfs, people went away from it.
So I think just because the
rune?
rest of the composition has 3 ADs in your Pyke, in your Rek'Sai, and in your Aatrox, you probably go for the AP Nico and look for a big Pop Blossom alongside the Shockwave from Orianna.
Yeah. Good to ask the questions, though. We start with the Doran's Ring and Glacial Augment, so there we go. So it is going to be AP. But that's a good point. Spread of AP damage between Mole and CLX this game. Airy on the Orianna. Now, as an Orianna savant, I will say my favorite is... what is my favorite? I think it's Airy.
I'm just going to take your attention for a second and point it towards the scoreboard where you can see Flandre has not bought a Doran's Shield.
Ooh.
He's just gone for a pot and nothing else.
Oh, no. Does he realize? He danced before, so he's in a good mood.
Well, you can't afford the Flask and a Doran's Shield. So he's made the conscious choice not to go for the Doran's Shield there, just going for a Flask, but not even going for the Corrupting Potion, just going plain Flask there.
Just refillable, right? 150 gold. He has 350 gold.
He's found himself a gold lead in the top lane.
Well, not necessarily. But he'll realize this. I mean, that is...
I mean, it's probably a choice, right?
No.
When he's bought at least one item, you have to assume that it's a choice that he's made.
Well, I assume that...
Neither of us are color casters. This could be something that's common.
No, I will stand my ground right now and say that's not. He's got a bit of gold in his pocket as junglers interact. Here we go from AS6.
Oh, wait. He's on. We're idiots. He could just craft the Doran's Shield in lane. Of course. XX is caught out in the meantime as he's desperately trying to flash away. Smites the chicken for health. He will walk away with his life. Nice early pressure from V5. Ornn can craft items. What are we on about?
Yeah, I know. Look, 2 players. What happened? But problem is, you don't just walk to lane without an item. I mean, like, that's like, well, it doesn't matter anyway, right? Anyway, moving on. Ornn has items now. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I got one job and I did it wrong. But that's all right. This is my last game as a color ever.
I know.
Probably.
I'm sad. This will be our last game as a duo.
I think people are pretty excited to get a color on after this in Dagda. But yeah, it's been a roller coaster.
It's been real. It's been fun.
It's been much like this series. It's been very much like this series where I think V5 started off
fiesta.
No, well, not necessarily.
To be fair, this hasn't been a fiesta. This has actually been relatively controlled, especially from the side of V5 in Game 2.
I would not call this a fiesta. I'd call this decision-making wins out. And that's what it has been in both Games 1 and Game 2.
So let's take a look at where the junglers are at to start things off here. AS6 going to be clearing out his jungle, moving over towards this top side. The same can be said for XX. That first Scuttle Crab going to be going his way, the top side of the map. And I believe the bottom side Scuttle Crab currently being taken by the bottom lane of LNG.
Yeah, they've just moved up. They've got the shove in lane, so they have the freedom to do this. And I guess after the Ornn fiasco, I want to come down to the bottom lane and look at Mole. What the start is actually here. Now with Glacial Augment with Predator on Y4 as well. This is a really interesting lane. Predator on Pyke we've seen from Lumal, but normally it is the Aftershock still being taken here. We don't see that many Pykes anymore though. And so it's all about roaming. First back is going to be Boots.
Well, if it's all about roaming, Bard in game number 2, that definitely feels like it's Y4's strength. That definitely feels like that's where his comfort zone lies in the support role. And let's bear in mind, in the grand scheme of role swaps, AD carry to support has often been one of the most successful.
Yeah, because it's been the meta with the Senna Tahm Kench at the moment. I do want to check back in on junglers though. We saw the flash before burnt by XX, but there's been no further engage. XX is towards his bottom side as Dredgeline. What?
Oh, goes through the clone there. Mole in a bit of trouble. Will trade it back onto Azura though. So actually the trade relatively even since Pyke will regen a lot of that health. Now, big wave going to be crashed in this bottom side. No looks for a dive or anything like that though.
Bit of a CS advantage here on the side of Azura, but that should be caught up after the wave crashes through and Mole picks up some of that. But Dwan has been pretty on point with this Nautilus. We've seen game number 1 was a great example of how consistent he is with these hooks. But also Dwan as a playmaking support is one of the best in the league. I think in summer last year, we saw the best out of him. Things like the Leona, Nautilus, Thresh, or even the Tarm Kench. Dwan was excelling. And with Asura, this is his original AD carry. This is the AD carry he's now been with for a year. And there's so much potential between the duo. It's good to see them back here in Game 3.
And it's great to see Week3 forcing a bit of respect. Nice flash out of Azura just to keep himself alive there in the 2v1. But it's good to see respect coming out from LNG. You know, they put the substitute AD carry away again. Light had his chance, lost the game against V5, and now it's going to be back Azura on the main roster. LNG not willing to accept
And it's not like Light was playing poorly. I think last game, LNG as a unit were just not cohesive. They weren't the same team we saw in Game 1. But that's also because V5 put them in such a bad position from the get-go. In this game, I think with the main roster back in tow, and with a better start from XX despite the flash, this is more the LNG pace and style that we want to see. We set them up as late-game team fighters, really good late-game shot callers, even with the change in XX and Maple. And with this early game going smoothly so far, that is the start that LNG are now working towards.
And it's not always just about whether or not the other player did well. I mean, Light didn't exactly play badly during the last game, I don't think. I don't think it was Light's fault specifically. So we've got to find the bottom lane. Mole once again getting hooked, but Azure is the one to go down, and this is the thing. Aphelios, so easy to dive onto.
But also the damage that comes out of Pyke. Ignite gets dropped down, and Y4, all he has to do is press Q after getting the stun, and the burst from both he and Mole on Nico is easy to secure an early advantage bot.
Fantastic stuff coming out from the side of Y4 and Mole. And Mole maybe just baiting the hook right there because he was invisible, as Alia's now going to be going in onto Flandre. Air6 goes for the flash knockup. Flandre has his own flash available. Will juke away. Well, I don't think he's going to get away with this one in the end. Bellow's Breath won't do much, and it's a kill into the pocket of Alias.
And when you get a solo 2 or a duo kill with the 2v2 bot, without the jungler being involved, the ability to set up for another lane is there. AS6 was towards the top side. He passed with a shoved out lane from Flandre. And now across the map, V5 have both top and bottom under their wing.
Well, would you look at this? V5 for the second game in a row find themselves an early lead. They've got Alias on this Aatrox once again. He was the MVP in game number 2. And he's looking to maybe have a repeat performance with a great start in the top side. And I love the AS6 setting him up for success.
On this Rek'Sai pick once again. Game 1, I wanted to see, okay, AS6 on Lee Sin, brand new champion in his pool. And we didn't get the AS6 that has this early game success. Games 2 and 3, a very different story. And now on the Rek'Sai again, he hasn't set himself up this time, but he set up his solo lane in Alias. And Alias has been the success story and the consistent story game after game.
Across the board, I have to say I'm impressed by Week3 this series. And, you know, going into this series,
what did we say? 2-0?
We expected 2-0.
Yep.
I think everybody expected 2-0. This is a Week3 that so far haven't really been able to achieve much in the LPL. But most importantly, it didn't feel like they had much of a style in the LPL either. They tried different things. They tried different types of drafts, and nothing was working for them. And then suddenly, they continue to change up the style every single game. They continue to change what's happening. And now, with Mole as their AP bot, with Y4 in support and CLX mid, maybe this is what they needed all along.
Maybe, but at this point we're seeing trades across the map. Herald was taken top, and with the Bulwark bonus, I think LNG have the play here. Bottom was getting shoved early, but Rift Herald will enable this first turret. V5 is still challenging, but this is gone. So LNG quicker to the play while V5 prioritize Dragon. They still will trade.
And that's the second game in this series where that has happened exactly that way. CLX gets a shockwave onto Maple. Does a bit of damage back, but he's going to go down in the end. Duan grabs the kill.
You can see Flandre aiming for the flash over the wall from CLX. So a quick pick and the first kill of the game for LNG, while for V5, bottom side continue on this turret.
And that, honestly, is... CLX needed to be a little bit more respectful. Obviously, he knew that they were at Herald. They've just taken the objective. and then you see Flandre and you see Duan coming into the mid lane, you need to respect that that's available for them.
All right, Munchables. Not too shabby of a start. But where do we go from here? I know a lot of people are going to be going, all right, okay. Bottom lane's ahead. They pick themselves up, turret and the solo gold to go with it. And also the hose is available on Mole. But for LNG, Zoe's still in a good position in lane. Jarvan actually 10 CS up. XX has been farming the jungle meanwhile. Y4's starting to roam. He's got the Predator with mobility boots now. So through Y4, I feel like they're going to be looking for these advantages. They're going to be looking for picks. Yeah,
there's a pull towards XX. And it feels like positional control in favor of V5 right now. AS6 going to be farming away in his jungle. There is a bit of a CS lead in favor of XX, but in terms of the levels, they are going to be about even. A slight experience lead for both the mid and bot of LNG.
Things going around. CLX is trying to move to a solo lane, but you can see Duan is doing the same thing. He's roaming much like Y4. And while Y4 has top side priority, gets some deep vision, Duan is doing the same bot and even setting up Asura to get this turret, while plates are still available. So right now, net in favor of LNG if they can push CLX off the turret, which they do.
So far they have. CLX going to be completely alone down here. We'll be able to clear out the minion wave in the end, though.
Infernum, just such a silly gun. 75% of the original damage goes to the surrounding minions. 75%.
You're not a fan of Aphelios, are you, Jake?
I play him, though. I am a hypocrite.
Not a fan of the champion, big fan of the LP, though.
Yeah, that's right. Well, actually, I lose LP when I play Aphelios. I play Jinx at the moment. That's free LP. People just walk into you. It's great. Yeah. Plus, you get movement speed off of dragons and barons now. Delicious LP on that.
Very delicious.
But, I mean, this game around, you know, Asura's in a pretty good position as well. He doesn't have his first item like Mole does. But hang on, Flandre, get out of there.
Alias just about misses the second knock up there. It means that Flandre can just dash out of the Infernal Chains. But it's interesting to see Mole has swapped to the mid lane, but there hasn't been a full lane swap here. Maple's still going to be there up against him, and now it's CLX and Y4 in the bottom side.
And CLX just still taking a solo wave at this point. Mole just going back to his roots, it seems like. As that's not a good place to back.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble. There's a lot of damage onto Y4.
Dead.
Ignite's ticking, but he's got his regen out of vision. Oh, Maple gets it. And that was blind. They saw him go into the brush. They didn't have vision on him in the brush, but they get away with it.
And that's a kill over to the Zoe in the mid lane. Greedy backspace here from Y4. Has to burn his flash as well. And so the Pyke, who was looking for spaces and opportunities between the side lanes here, or between mid and the side lane, excuse me, now kill on top of Maple. That's going to be the first item, and it's around Dragon spawning in 45 seconds.
Blue buff going to be here. CLX looking to grab that one for himself. No help from the jungler. So he's going to have to solo that one out. And which means, in the meantime, you've got Azura and Duan pushing in the bottom wave.
Mole missing that was pretty damn big. Maple was caught out there, has the flash available. I was going to say, if we look at the bottom side, while Asura is pushing in for turret plating, LNG have control of the river around this dragon, but XX a bit deep.
Has to dash away from this one. AS6 has his flash, and he goes for the knock-up here. Shockwave dodged out from XX, but there's a root, there's a Pot Blossom. Everybody's golden, though, and it does nothing. Infernum onto everyone, and there's a kill for Flandre as AS6 tries to get away. He's ignited, and that's 2 for Flandre in the end. A knock-up to boot, and he might just find a triple. There's 1 for Maple. And now Mole just desperately trying to escape. He'll go down as well as Maple grabs a double.
Maple returns with his big ticket item, comes into the fight massively, and Asura gets off the perfect ult as well. This was LNG's to take. He doesn't even have the item. It felt like it. But Maple comes in, gets 2 more kills to the collection, and after that, LNG now secure their space in front of the Dragon.
And one of the big questions for this team is how will Maple perform? So far this series, he's been a little hit or miss, but right now, this game, he's looking great on his Zoe.
So we're going to see a replay in a second because I know how this works, right? Yeah, I might not know the role, but I know the game. And V5 are going to show us what they threw at some people with stopwatches. And I'll tell you what, Munchables, it doesn't look too good. We're just having a look at turret plating. Forget my point. That's a bit of money.
That's a lot of money going their
It's all
way.
Asura.
And yeah, 4 of those plates went to Asura. The other 5.
There it is.
In fact, no, they all went to Asura. Yeah, he went up to the top lane.
So let's take a quick look at this. Because AS6 first, the flash away from Shockwave was big. But then the Pop Blossom, the AoE ult that's massive, goes onto 2 people who are golden. Asura gets the perfect Infernum to force V5 to disengage. And while he plays on the opposite side of the map, Flandre just takes the rest of the fight, and Maple finally returns from base. An LNG execution better on the day. Now Maple has that first item. Asura has that Infinity Edge that he fought with before, and Flandre is well on the way to his second.
And it has to be said, oh my days, the damage out of Maple, that is rough. He's got that Ludens and he'll make it work, but Mole is really struggling on this Nico pick to find any good Pop Blossoms. Nice hook there onto Y4. He walks away though on the Pike.
Just on the note of Y4 as well, it doesn't feel like he's had any impact in this game so far, apart from that kill in the bottom lane to set up Mole. And outside the laning phase, when you want the Pike with Predator to be making some serious leeway, LNG have survived all the attempts from him. LNG have survived the ganks from this Pike. And he seemed minorly impactful.
The thing is, though, even though he hasn't been having an impact, I completely agree, he is playing Pike. And it's one of those champions, it's kind of like Master Yi, where all you need is one good triple kill during the game and suddenly you take over everything. Speaking of taking over, it's LNG the ones that will be grabbing this Rift Tower for themselves. V5 want to fight for it. Duan gets the hook onto Aliez. He's the target, and he just cannot move during this fight. Worldender comes out, and there's a bit of sustain for him. Now turns it down onto XX. Massive damage coming across the team. Mole gets a Pop Blossom. It hits no one, and everybody's slowly falling from the side of V5. LNG staying group, working together. It's 2 for 2.
And Aphelios, wait, never mind. It's going to be 3 for 2.
3 for 1.
3 for 1, okay. Counting's up. Wait.
4 for 1.
4 for 1.
It's all gone wrong.
Bingo, baby.
It looked even for a moment.
And Mole is alive on about 100 HP in the top lane. Again, Asura and Maple dictate the fight with an unkillable Ornn. And it looked pretty good for V5. Ali has stayed alive for so long in that backline after everything was thrown on him. But LNG are playing this so nicely. And V5 with an early lead, with another good start in this game, have been neglected. Duan onward with his hooks as always. The zoning onto CLX. But I want you, as I knock something off of our set, I want you to see the Shockwave hitting no one but Duan, and the Pop Blossom failing again. 2 key ultimates from V5 that fall by the wayside. And LNG with the Asura, with the Aphelios, and the Fed Zoe are able to dictate the rest of the pace.
And it's the fact that
the rest of the pace, right?
Look at that damage. The fact that Asura can just chill during these fights. He's not had to worry about any of the pressure coming out from the rest of the squad. He's able to just do whatever he wants, launch out his ultimate, just bash out his auto attacks. Mole going for a play onto Maple here, but he's just rooted up, can't do anything. There's a knock-up, there's a Shockwave though. The follow-up from his team, even if the Pop Blossom doesn't land, will still be there. And it's a double kill now for CLX.
And no one to help them out. That's so well needed here for V5. And finally the execution of ultis comes through a skirmish, a battle in the bottom lane. Maple dodges out the first initiation, but apart from that, V5 clawing some of the gold back in this game. And that slows things down.
It's a really important pick there to change the tempo of this game. Right now, it was all about LNG being in control. That switches things up a little bit with 30 seconds until the Drake. It will be V5 that try and get vision control. You can see the Scuttle Crab there for LNG, but that's it.
And when your item's behind, like the Orianna here from CLX, he's only got his first item. He does want to scale. He does want to be the impact in the fight. Alongside the Aatrox in the top lane, Mr. Old Reliable in Alias. Then this gives them more time, more opportunity, and even more gold from that play to get towards those second, third crucial items, which will be able to challenge LNG and also challenge them in front of things like the Dragon here, spawning soon.
Everyone grouping up for the Dragon here for the side of LNG, and it doesn't look like V5 are in position to contest here. It's not just going to be smited away by the likes of XX. And AS6, no way to get into the pit. Now we find a hook. Mole goes in for the Pop Blossom, but he's so low. Walks away with his life. Asura is down. And now Aliez can't get the sustain. Maple, the one to finish that kill. as Flandre gets another.
You think it's all good.
Oh,
and then
no.
Maple. And then Maple.
Off the screen, a second bonus kill for him.
Asura going down raises your eyebrows that V5 are going to do it. But Maple is so damn big. He's showing us the other part of Season 9, I guess, coming through. 6-1 and 4. Full control, and they also pick up the Dragon off the back end of the play.
This is Flash Wolves Maple we're seeing right before our eyes. None of this Sooning Maple in the mix. We're seeing what he used to be able to do in the LMS and making these plays on the Zoe. Now that he's got a much more comfortable champion for himself. Unfortunate Herald, but that's life.
Ran back. You ready to see another replay? Dwanda started again, but the Pop Blossom this time stops Asura, and the execute that comes through from the bot lane duo looks great for V5. But again, the damage from Maple is so undeniable, and Flandre will not die in this front line. So right now they're playing across the strength of LNG. Asura is a byproduct that will do damage if he's still alive. And it seems like V5 running out of options because LNG have so many available on the board.
And now the Ludens has just been upgraded by Flandre, so Maple, if he was strong before, he's even stronger now.
Yeah.
One Trouble Bubble lands, and it could be a dead player for the side of V5. They're starting to fall pretty dramatically behind now.
And they're looking for a pick in front of Baron here on the side of LNG. V5 have to walk in. They don't know if this is going down. Well, they get a bit of vision now. And that's all that's important. But Control Ward means that, okay, are they there or are they not?
Oh, Alias, I don't know if that's where you want to be. Pulled in and taken down immediately. Cataclysm over the wall. Y4 jumps away for his life. Moonlight Vigil misses. There's a Pop Blossom as well. Can we turn this into something? Shockwave onto everybody. Maple still alive as AS6 gets onto the back line. CLX getting chased away. Walks away, but XX is chasing him down. AS6 falls. And XX looks for CLX.
Even with good execution, Maple survives, and so does Flandre. Say it again with me. Maple does a bucket load of damage, and that looks great. It looks so good for V5.
And you can see the Robo Colonel is not happy about the situation. 76.3% in favor. 77 make that.
Look at Maple's stock. He got 18% increase today.
Absolute stonks.
Dude, he's got some serious profit coming through, and we're going replay after replay this game because Dwan keeps finding engages. And even though Alias gets picked out early, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Maybe V5 can turn with this great triple Tangle Barbs from Mole and the Shockwave on top. But look at where Maple is zoning out. Even after AS6 tries to get the engage, Maple can't die because he's got the spare flash that Zoe
The problem is it falls apart when Aatrox isn't there in the fight, because if AS6 charges at Maple and just tries to get a solo kill, you've got Mole and you've got CLX running forward to try and get these ultimates off. But who's there to protect them? There's no front line. As soon as those ultimates don't kill everyone, the rest of LNG just collapses on these easy-to-kill squishy mages.
And even with LNG, if they get those low health bars, you're looking towards people like Y4 as well to potentially get resets. None of that has happened. LNG now starting up the Baron. V5 are aware, but LNG is simply trying to bait them in. Hello. Oh, goodbye.
Trouble Bubble. Going to go on to AS6. They're going to follow it up with the Call of the Forge God. There's a flash. And well, CLX is no longer alive for this one. We've got a Pop Blossom going down onto Asura, though. This could turn the fight. Pyke getting one as Flandre finds himself double kill. But it's 2 for Y4 now. Alias still doing work in this fight. There's 3. I talked about the Pyke resets, and he's going up huge. But so is Flandre with a triple of his own on this Ornn. Alias World Ender will run out now. Flandre bails. 3 for 3. I think V5 are happy to take that at this point.
Y4 being cheeky, stopping the back here of XX as well, right in front of the turret. But a trade is better than nothing at all for V5, better than the past fights have been going. And we're going fight after fight. V5 still happy to take it out, still happy to play with the window around this Nico. And even this Pyke, as we saw in the last fight. Munchables, I've never had to do this many replays in my life, but a Trouble Bubble to start us off. Now, you mentioned in the fight, Mole came through with another big moment, but I want you to watch Alias. You said in the last fight how this front line can play around. with Mol's ulti layered with Alias and now Y4 resets, they start getting some work done, and LNG's less tankier members are taken out of the equation. Maple also dying there means the biggest damage source is removed fast by Y4.
LNG going to grab themselves a third dragon, though. And the real question is, how on earth do you get through Flandre?
Yeah.
8, 1, and 7 on this Ornn. Sure, the fight went relatively even, but Flandre has become basically invincible, and it doesn't matter if he's not building damage. He can kill squishies. But the question is, can CLX and Mole kill him? I don't think so.
We saw before it was so hard to get through him with just the 2 left standing. V5 around this Baron once again. Look at where LNG are. They're not starting this objective. Every time forcing V5 to blindly check. And that means Dwan can find himself and engage.
I thought they were going to pull the trigger on that. I was not convinced that Dwan's the target.
It begins,
XX and Asura going to try and cheese on the Baron, but they're just baiting for now. Alias hooked on in, has to use the World Ender early. Thought that was the real Mole for a second, and I was real worried.
Edge of Night paying dividends there for Y4. A different optimization here for the Pike into the lethality, or the lethality item Edge of Night second. Still trying to find a hook here from Y4.
But with World Ender on cooldown, that's a pretty huge ultimate for the side of Week3. They do still have the rest of their combo, though.
Flandre has himself the ultimate available as well. XX with Cataclysm, the ability to lock someone down. And we do Baron again. 2 members, all they need here with Crescendum and Calibrum available. Look how fast it's going.
Yeah, you can easily just burn this one down. Y4 has to face check for this one. He's got the Edge of Night. Couldn't get a ward down.
Wow.
Baron just goes. There's no answer from V5, and now they have to retreat because they know that they can't team fight for this one.
Flandre just zones. Flandre, all he has to do is zone. You mentioned the word unkillable there before. Well, he can stand there against 4 people while the rest of LNG rotate to help him out. And a free Baron just taken like that.
And realistically, this is one of the issues that you will have when you run this double AP composition. When you're up against tanks, it becomes very difficult to get through them. The likes of Alias and AS6. I mean, AS6 literally can't afford to focus Flandre in the fights. He's got to be on Asura.
Yeah.
And Alias won't have the damage by himself to get through a massive Ornn during the fights. Flandre is only going to get tankier.
Everything on Maple and Asura. Or even Dwan at this point, because he's not super tanky. Does have the stone plate available, though.
And we've not really talked about...
Okay, right.
He saved the ward. It was all
Nice.
worth it.
He's going to path back around and probably... No, he's going to take this one. Sorry, go on.
But, I mean, we've not really talked about Asura so far this game. Subbed back in to replace Light after the Game 2 loss. But he's not had to have a huge impact so far. It's not been necessary because of the way these teamfights have been going. But he's still a Felios. And he is still now on the 3 crit item spike. He is going to be railing through health bars during these fights. And that's only going to get worse when you don't have much of a front line on the side of V5. It's all about damage for them. If Aphelios can just get a few autos off in his ultimate, that's going to be dead players.
The damage on Molten Edge as well, just such a big number, right? What was it, 120, I believe? 90 to 120 or 130? Either way.
80 to 120, I believe.
Big number. But the point is here that every fight, V5 have been focusing in on Asura. They've been focusing in on this 80 carry, and then Mol's been left standing. Now in the bottom lane, pushing with Flandre. He's got a front line to keep him safe, and he's doing so much work on these turrets.
And LNG just waltz into the base here. V5 finally. Time to answer for this one. Azura flashes, keeps himself out of the stun. There's a hook coming in from Duan. They're trying to keep Azura alive. They won't be able to succeed, but I think they win the fight regardless. There goes Mole as well as he tries to walk away. Gets a root, but Flandre finds yet another double kill. There's a knock-up onto the last remaining member, Alias, in a 1 versus 4. Very symbolic of the rest of this series right here. He drops, and it's an inhib, and maybe the game.
Maybe the game. I think it's definitely going to be the game here, Munchables. Long death timers here with Y4 only soon to watch his base crumble. V5 came close, but this looks like it's LNG all the way.
You could see game number 3 was serious mode for LNG. They bring in their main AD carry, they turn up the heat, and they take a convincing win against Week3.